Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We just got done checking out our first psychedelic song for the week. We're going to be diving into some special selections. Today's special selection comes at us from Damien. It says, as I said on Discord, it's going to be from the NieR Automata soundtrack by Keiichi Okabe. Choosing specific tracks is a nightmare though, as the whole soundtrack is worthy of being a special selection in my opinion. So we'll start with Memories of Dust. It's the soundtrack for the desert part of the game. The lyrics are in chaos language, a made-up language made by incorporating sounds of various languages to reflect how the composer thinks languages might sound 10,000 years from now, where the game takes place. It's the first track I heard from the game, and that made me want to play it. So the vocal aspect alone already has me intrigued. Let's dive into this one. We got Memories of Dust. Yeah, already the spacing is very interesting. Now we finally have a center band thing, but this string element, the drums, yeah, I'm really loving how all these elements are coming together here. Yeah, so there's also a lot of worldness to the instrumentation as well. We have something that sounds like a shamisen. We have more of a Western style acoustic guitar. We have bongos. There were chimes there at the beginning. Oh man. Really widen this out. We have a lot of bass presence now. The violins came in to carry some melody and create some atmosphere. A lot of adventure coming through the atmosphere. And I also like how the music just is. I'm going to get on that in a second, but I think they've done a great way of characterizing the desert. I actually thought we were going to back it back down to the intensity of the last vocal part. But yeah, instead we've brought all these elements together and continue this climb in intensity. Dude, these resolutions are gorgeous. Even right here, there's some digital effects put on this instrument to give it width and that rapid panning effect. I wonder if there's any performances of this. Like, for big movies, they sometimes have behind the scenes featurettes where they go into a deep dive of the score and they show, they interview the composer or whatever, but then they also show shots of the composer or possibly a different conductor, uh, you know, leading the band through a playthrough of the song. I'm really interested in what kind of instruments are in here. Um, because I do feel like there's a correlation between this chaos language idea of combining sounds from many of modern day languages into this fictional singular language of the future that can also be seen in the music where we have modern day instruments from various cultures all being presented in this musical amalgamation as well. And it's a very very cool concept. It has my mind going crazy, thinking of ways that I could implement this, like this idea of stepping outside of my comfort zone and exploring musical instruments from cultures that I've never even thought to look into their music before, and seeing and listening for all sorts of different timbres that are out there that I don't know about, and thinking that maybe I should make some music incorporating sounds that are not represented a lot in popular music. So yeah, that whole concept there. Plus, making up a language for a song. We've had a few bands who have done that in the past, and it always fascinates me. The interesting thing, I think at least, is that being a native English speaker who knows a little bit of Spanish, and that's about it as far as uh, exploring other languages goes. Um, it's interesting that if I hadn't been told this was a fictional language, I don't think I would have noticed it. And maybe that's true for most of the fictional languages that I've heard. Actually, we checked out a Prague-ish band once. Was it Magma? Was that the band? And it was a completely made up language. I didn't even pick up that it was uh, completely fictional. And it's just really interesting to kind of see that when we create languages, we still kind of fit them within the trappings of some sort of language. We don't really make languages, too often at least, that are very alien. And part of that might just come from the fact that we need a vocalist who can perform them, and most vocalists are human, so they have to be creatable by human physiology. But I don't know, I'm getting off topic here. Let's get back onto this Memories of Dust by Keiichi Okabe. This was just gorgeous, top to bottom. Um, and I love this is my kind of slow burn. All right, they took a single concept and evolved it from two instruments, one pan left, one pan right, all the way to the end. I wouldn't say this song was segmented at all. It was linear in a static fashion where there was one section and we slowly built on it until the end of the song. and the way that they built on it, when they chose to add things, what they chose to add, it was all done so well. And I need a second listen. It is a dense song, especially once we get to the end of the track. I'm curious if parts were removed or if I just stopped listening for them because other things were coming into play. But something like the early bongos, I know they were there at least up until the halfway point, but especially when we reached the big uh, epic ending there, about 4 minutes in, 4.5 minutes in, real close to the end. Um, were they still present? Was it a true layering? Or is it like a Jenga tower where we slowly remove things out from prior to put new things up on top? That's a weird analogy. My brain's going weird places today. Um, so yeah, that's definitely something I would listen for on a second listen, seeing how the instrumentation is layered. Um, so let's see. There are, I mentioned, a lot of instruments here. I heard something that sounded like a shamisen. I heard something that sounded like more of a Western acoustic guitar. There were bongos. We had strings. We had vocals in a made-up language, and all of it was super complimentary. The composer has a very strong attention to detail regarding space. All right, I think space is very important here, and it's noted right at the very beginning where we have two instruments that might as well be hard panned left and right, and we actually don't get a center panned instrument for quite a few bars, and then it's a quick wind chime effect, not effect, wind chime sound, but just running a hand or a mallet or something through a set of chimes, and then it's gone, and then we're back to the hard panning idea. It was quite a few bars until we got a dedicated center panned instrument, and I think that first one might have been the vocals actually. So space is super important here, and the more that you listen to the new instruments being added, new elements that are included as the song goes on, and you start to feel out where they're placed, left, right, up, down, near, far, the composer or possibly also the producer did a fantastic job at finding a space for all of these instruments. Now, part of that could come down to the recording process. Um, One of the nice things about recording with an orchestra, I think, is that the microphones are going to pick up placements of the instruments because of where the microphones are in the recording area, rather than something like recording a rock album where you usually record one instrument at a time and you have to place them in the sound in production. Um, so maybe it has something to do with how it was recorded. Maybe it wasn't recorded individually and it was recorded as a single performed piece, and that might help a little bit with spacing and placement as well. But it is just everything has a spot. Nothing, if you played every instrument at the same time, they just held out a note, I think you would still be able to hear individual placement around it. It would not be a wall of sound like we typically see wall of sounds in stuff like black metal and post rock, where a lot of the instruments are in the same area of the sound. The composer really fills out the full space that they have available to them, and I love how they filled it out slowly over time. This whole idea of uh, this this wave of energy, so to speak, starting small and growing bigger as time goes. It is phenomenal. And I even mentioned when the vocalist came in for the second line that I was kind of expecting it to go back down and bring in the same intensity and energy that we saw last time, and instead it continued to build onto it. And like I said, it fits so perfectly with what they were going for here, and I'm glad they went for this linear route of just constantly growing the track. I mentioned that the song feels like a perfect musical rendition of the desert. And what I mean by that is that there's definitely some adventure in the song, maybe that has to do with the type of game it is. But there's also this element of it, like if we remove the adventurous element, there's a part of the song that kind of it fits underneath that adventurous, full of energy type of thing going on in the melody lines, that the song is just kind of there. It just kind of exists. A lot of the floor bed is just kind of existing underneath this, this huge, grand, epic, melody lines that show up in the violins from here and there. And what I love about that is it's kind of, it just is. It doesn't really, the foundation of the song doesn't really seem to care too much about this high adventure stuff. It's just it content with being what it is. And it kind of reminds me of the desert, where the desert just is. We have, huge deserts in the world that pretty much are barren because they refuse to be bent to the wills of man. They just are. They have no feelings towards the humans on them. They are just there. They exist. And I think that that kind of casual existence is captured very well in the foundational works of this song. I really felt it in the beginning of the song as we added more and more parts and it became larger and more grandiose, started to reach some of those larger than life elements. It kind of slipped away into the background, but I feel like even there at the end it was still present. And it reminded me so much of the desert. It's just there, it does what it does and doesn't really care about anything else. So, yeah, I don't, that could just be me, but that's sort of the vibes I got from it. And I'm sure some of that might have been um, influenced by the fact of the background. I think the background, yeah, the background, the name of the song, knowing that it's the song that's used during the desert section of this video game. That might have influenced some of it, but it just to me it just works very well, and I appreciate that. Let's see, is there anything else here? I really want to say there is, but it's nothing that's really coming to mind. It's just a gorgeous song, top to bottom. It really is, and I've had people tell me that I need to play this NieR Automata a lot, and this song makes me want to check out the soundtrack. This Keiichi Okabe has a very strong sense, at least just from this single song, a very strong sense of uh, adapting elements into the work. It's not just about creating the atmosphere for it. It's about including what its part in the narrative of the multimedia project, what its placement is within that, and incorporating that into the music. It's very, very similar to. I apologize for forgetting the composer's name, but we've checked out a song. Actually, yeah, we checked out a song from a Dark Souls game. And I remember a lot of comments saying that, a lot of things I was touching on were present in the lore of that Lawrence character. I think it was some character's theme song. And again, another composer that just takes its, what the purpose of the song is, how it fits within the lore, the story of the multimedia project, and injecting it into the music. And here it's no different. And it really makes me think this Keiichi Okabe character person has a very strong understanding of what this video game is about and injecting those themes and ideas into the song. And it makes me want to check out this album. And I'm sure after I check out the album, I'm going to want to play this game because if any of it is as beautiful and as thoughtful as this is, then it's going to be a worthwhile listen, but definitely a worthwhile listen within the context of the game and the events of where these songs pop up. All right, that is my thoughts on Keiichi Okabe's Memories of Dust from the NieR Automata. I feel like I've said that a different time, a different way every time I've said it. Soundtrack. This is where you guys come in. Now, hit me up with some comments. Let me know what you thought about this. If there's anything that stuck out to you. If you have any context for this song or anything that you want to add, especially those who have played the game and have heard the song in its proper context, go ahead and hit me up with those types of comments. Above the comment box is a description box, and in there is a link for Linktree. It'll take you to this menu right here, which has links for everything related to the channel. You can support me through Patreon. You can follow me on Twitter. You can join the Discord community. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Go ahead and check it out. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. And until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.